Hello and welcome to this video. If you clicked on here, I'm assuming you might be going on Erasmus. So today I'm going to talk about my Erasmus experience. So a quick little introduction. My name is Christina. I'm from Norway and I study PR, communications and media in Volda, which is in Norway. And I just spent my spring semester on Erasmus in Lisbon, Portugal. I might make an own video about like Erasmus in Lisbon, but this is more like overall if you're going on Erasmus anywhere. But that being said, remember that every situation and experience is different. And this was mine, so I'm going to tell you about it, but that doesn't mean it has to be the case for you or everyone else. But I try to think of some things that like I wish I knew, some positive, negatives, tips. Yeah, just my Erasmus experience, so let's get into it. If you're here, you might know what the Erasmus program is, but I just thought I would give a quick explanation of the program. But do not ask me about how to apply and stuff. I do not know. I did it all and got all the info I needed from my university, so if you have any questions, talk to your counselor at your university about this or do your own research. I simply do not know. I had basically everything handed to me, and that is such a great plus of doing the Erasmus program. For me, it was so easy. If I would like apply to an American college instead, it would be like a lot of papers, but that wasn't the case with Erasmus program. So that was the case for me, at least. It's basically a European like collaboration program where you're able to spend a year or a semester in another European Union country, and it's so awesome. Like, you don't have to pay school money. In a lot of cases you do go to public universities, but in my case, of some reason, I went to private one, but I still didn't have to pay school money. I got a monthly scholarship just for being on Erasmus. The application was super easy, as I said, and just like such an easy way to get to experience another culture, because you don't need like a new phone membership, a visa. Like, I went on an exchange year in the US in high school, so I might like compare this experience to that a lot in this video, I don't know. But just like with small things like that, it was a lot more to like deal with in the US because it's in another continent, you know. While this, like, you just have to like pack your suitcase and just bring your lifestyle to that country. So I thought it was a really like nice and convenient way to travel and get to experience another culture. And so that is like why it made a lot of sense, because I could like apply everywhere in the world almost, but for me I felt like it made a lot more sense to do the Erasmus program because it's just so convenient and easy and cheap rather than like Australia or Japan or the US or whatever. So that was really shortly about what it is. So I did write a few key points down with like positives, negatives and tips. I don't know if it all makes sense in the order and stuff, but I'll just start from the top. So we can start with the positives to try to convince you to do an Erasmus, because it's such like a great opportunity. And the first kind of obvious thing, but that is such a huge part of Erasmus, is that you meet so many cool people from all over the world. This semester I have met like so many more nationalities than I thought I would, and it's just so like funny to get to know another culture, their special habits, and share yours. And it's just a perfect arena to like meet other people, because in most cases your Erasmus city will have an Erasmus network, and in Lisbon it was massive, like so many people. And where else would I meet so many unique people from so many cultures at one place wanting the same thing? They just want to make friends and get new experiences. And that's also a great like effect of Erasmus. Like, you know, the people who are there have the same intentions as you kind of like. You have to be a certain type of person to go on Erasmus, right? So if you do try, it's almost like impossible not to get friends or like meet people. And the second positive point of going on Erasmus is, as I said, I have kind of like done this before, and I know just like how much you grow even when times are hard, but you just grow so much as a person, and you will feel this like feeling of mastery like a lot of times. I noticed like for a lot of cultures and countries, it was the first time people moved away from home. For a lot of people, it was the first time like in a flat with random people. They had to grocery shop themselves. But even if it's not your first time moving out, like figuring out the culture and country you're in, like the public transportation, finding hidden gems, learning new words, like building a lifestyle there, you will feel it just feels really empowering to like figure all that stuff out. During the whole exchange, you will probably grow more than you know. And I remember really well from like my last exchange, you don't really realize how much you've grown until you're home, because a lot of stuff happens that semester or year, but when you come home, you have like grown so much, so you experience the world with a new set of eyes. But the like your hometown has just stayed still because they haven't gone what you've gone through, kind of. So that's when you really notice, oh, like I have really developed as a person, which is really awesome. I'm sorry if I'm like mumbling a bit. I just heard myself say awesome, but I don't know if you heard. Another point that makes the Erasmus like time really special is that you know it is only temporary. And as I said, that is the mentality of the rest of the Erasmus people that are coming. So first of all, like everything just feels more of an adventure. Even just like going to the gym or the grocery store, you know this is only temporary, so like it just feels more fun in a way. First month I was there, I couldn't listen to music when I was walking around because it kept me distracted from like my surroundings, because it was like more fun to take in all the buildings and people, but also because you know you only have a certain time amount to like discover around, you just do it. Like I really wish I will bring this mentality with me back home, because I have many things in Norway that I want to do that's on my bucket list, but I just never do because I live here. Like I have all the time in the world, so then you end up like not doing it. But on Erasmus I really like saw like everyone just did stuff. So yeah, that is one of the things I really loved about Erasmus. And another positive, since you're obviously not in your home country and you do get to experience a new culture while you're doing it, but it does make you more appreciative of everything you don't have there that you probably have in your home country. Like I loved Lisbon, but I was so excited to go for a run in the woods, you know, because there were no woods. But that's not something I necessarily think a lot about when I'm home. But now I'm much more like appreciative, because I did not have that for a semester, and that went for like a lot of things. Now I'm gonna go over to the more like some negatives that I didn't necessarily expect, and this point goes for a lot. It just made me more appreciative of what I had home when it was like negative in that country, you know. Okay, the first one isn't necessarily like a negative I didn't expect, but a lot of people go alone, but a lot of people don't too. And I felt like the people who came together was harder to connect with. Well, this kind of like went both ways for me, because I actually went with someone. It was not planned and we didn't apply together and we weren't like best friends before, but two people from my class at home applied to Lisbon as well as me without us like talking to each other or anything. So we weren't like knit together, but it was definitely like a nice safety having them there and always knowing you at least like have someone familiar you have like an established relationship with. But the negative of that safety is that you do not push yourself as hard. Again, I've gone on exchange before and then I went alone, and then I was like desperate for friends. I went to new people for lunch every day, but as I also said, I grew so much more from it, had more like chances of like meeting people, you know. And then also then others who go together, in my opinion, is kind of like harder to get to know because they seem like more established or like comfortable in their situation, so they're not as desperate to make friends too. Because when that is two-sided, like two people who are alone who just want to get friends, they can connect because like of course they want to make new friendships. But the people who went together who have each other, they're not as, in my eyes, open to those new friendships was what I witnessed during my exchange. So yeah, maybe that's more like of a tip than a negative, but I would recommend to go alone just because you will probably get more from it, I think. Then, as I said, because it is temporary, it feels like your lifestyle is different kind of. But a negative that came with that is that friendships feels different too. You obviously seem to just don't have that much time to get to know each other. For me at least, that was a really negative thing that I didn't really like expect. I think the just like underlying thought that everyone there has, that because it is temporary, it's such a short semester, you will not see each other probably ever again naturally after the semester, so that makes the friendships just like different. I have never been such like an all over friend person, and that was honestly fun. I can say I probably met a new person every single day, which I'm really proud of, and it definitely made my comfort zone wider. But I did feel lonely, and honestly a lot of times. I think like, how should I phrase this, like my standard of friendship is not what I made on Erasmus, kind of. They were way more like superficial than I like. It was a lot of like party friends, and I never really like knew where I stood with people, who I should invite this time, and I felt like I took the initiative like almost every time. But also then, that being said, a lot of people find their squad, and I saw a lot of people did, and they hung out the whole semester, and that's great for them, but then they don't meet as many people. But like if they're comfortable there, then go ahead with that, obviously. The next point might not be like controversial, but because I've done exchange before and now Erasmus, I know for a fact that the exchange concept, both in high school and Erasmus, is to romanticize. So my point is that it might not be the best semester of your life. As I said, I didn't really know where I stood with a lot of people, so I didn't really feel like I had some very close friends, which I realized kind of affected my Erasmus kind of negatively, but because I have done exchange before, I just like had put that pressure off that it has to be the best semester of your life, which was a relief, because honestly it was not, and it made me a lot more appreciative of my study experience in Norway. I knew I really love it in Volda and that the student environment was great, but now I'm just so much more appreciative, and like I think I realized more than ever that it has been such like a great experience to me, because I had like everything I wanted in Lisbon, just not that student community. So now I'm honestly excited to go back to my Norwegian university, which might not be something you hear from TikToks and stuff, that make sure your Erasmus is like the best year and experience of your life, that you will get like an Erasmus depression and stuff. And that doesn't mean I didn't have a good time, I really did, but it really, again, all these points go together. And if you don't love your home university, maybe your Erasmus is like the best semester of your life, but for me it wasn't, and that's okay. And if you feel the same, you don't have to feel guilty about it. Like, again, my opinion is that it is too romanticized. Even though you're so expected to just like be in love with the whole experience, you don't have to love everything. But now I talked a lot about that, and like that doesn't mean I'm grateful for the friends that I did make and the experience I did have at all. For me, again, I think it was a contrast to the student life I have at home, which is just so great that not even Erasmus in Lisbon could top it. So you have the same expectation that is just supposed to be great all the time, just put that weight off your shoulders, kind of. And then my next point is that you do have to study. Obviously that too will depend on your school, but I personally spend way more time on school and on schoolwork in Lisbon than I do at home, and it depends on your academic goals too, I guess. But getting to learn a new school system, reading books in English, just another culture, will take some time and confuseness, and it is uncomfortable. I felt lost a lot. I have like Portuguese history. This is the Norwegian weather, I'm sorry, but I'm sure the sky is gone soon. So yeah, those were some of the negatives that I didn't necessarily expect, but you do grow from that too. So it is, if you look at it one way, it is positive because it helps you grow, and just a lot of these things made me so much more appreciative of the things that you don't have. But I'm sure when I go back now, I will probably miss a lot of the things that I did have in Lisbon but I don't have there. Just don't be too hard on yourself. So that's a tip, I guess. So the rest of this video is tips, and yeah, the first I have is to talk to people in the beginning, because it will not get easier with time. And I think there are multiple reasons why you should like really push yourself in the beginning, because it is like the experience is new, so you're kind of setting the standard for yourself. If you wait 3 weeks to talk to people, it's gonna be harder, because if you didn't already, you're gonna like overthink, oh, like now we've seen each other but I haven't talked to them, so it's gonna be weird talking to them now. This was me with my Americans in my class. I love Americans, but they felt intimidating to me because, as I said earlier in the video, they all went together, so they only talk to each other, so I'm like, it's gonna be hard coming alone to them. Yeah, I felt uncomfortable, but that was honestly my goal for many weeks, like talk to the Americans this week. But I never ended up doing that, except asking for help with a test after they had left, because they took it earlier than me. But that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, probably. So my battery died, and then I had dinner, so I hope my energy level isn't embarrassingly visible, but I just had dinner, so I'm happy, but I know where I was at. So my next tip, or I just want to talk a little bit about accommodation, because I think no matter where you're going, accommodation on Erasmus is probably the most overwhelming part, because it is abroad, so you probably don't know like the renting rules and stuff. And I can remember like that was definitely the thing that I stressed the most about. It is also definitely the question that I've gotten the most on my social media, because I've posted a few TikToks from Lisbon, and it's really funny, like right now before this semester starts, a lot of people have found those videos again, but I get a lot of DMs like, where did you live, how did you found accommodation stuff. So yeah, it is overwhelming, but I promise you it will work out. This can even probably be an own video about finding accommodation, but I was lucky enough to get like a great like accommodation guide from my school in Lisbon, from like the international responsible person there. He sent us like a lot of websites where we could apply, what areas to live and not live in and stuff, so that was super nice. I had to send them a mail like, thank you so much for this, but I don't think that's the norm. So just to like give you a few tips there, I think student dorms in general are really safe, and you probably know you won't get scammed and stuff, but that is often more expensive, or at least in Lisbon, I don't know. There are also websites, but also that doesn't go for every city in every country, so maybe it's not for your Erasmus placement. But some websites like Uniplaces and spot a home or Idealista, I think, they have like you pay a fee to be guaranteed not to be scammed. Facebook is not like that. Then you have to take the chance, which I personally wouldn't, but a lot of people find it there too. I would just like get to know the area, the prices if you want to be close to public transportation or the city center or the school or both or whatever, and just like don't be afraid to talk to people. I asked my counselor at my home university like can I contact someone who has been in Lisbon? So then what I ended up, after like going through all the websites I could find, I ended up posting in a Norwegian in Portugal Facebook group about my situation, and if anyone owned an apartment they wanted to rent out to a Norwegian, or if they had any tips about the scamming things and stuff. Then a very nice guy ended up contacting me, and who had just been on Erasmus, and he gave me the info to his previous apartment, which ended up like being the best part of my whole Erasmus. So I'm so happy with how my accommodation thing worked out. So that's my story, but as I said, it's overwhelming, but you will figure it out. Everybody does. Another thing I would really recommend while talking about apartments is to invest in having a living room, or at least a space where you can invite people. My first year as a student in my Norwegian town, I lived in a student dorm where I had my own small bedroom and then a shared kitchen, so I couldn't really like ever invite people, which I thought sucked, because that's kind of like, I was not really, but like kind of in a similar situation as I was in Erasmus, because like it was a new place, new people, and I just felt so stuck. Like I needed to be invited to things all the time because I couldn't invite people myself. So that's what I really kept in mind while applying for apartments in Lisbon, because I didn't want to be in that situation again, especially when it's just a semester. And honestly, I don't really know a lot of people who had an apartment. Maybe that's just not normal for Portuguese apartments, I really don't know, but a lot of people just have like this tiny kitchen and then their rooms. But I had like a sofa, a kitchen area that I felt really blessed to have, so that I could invite people and take initiative, because that's my next tip: to take initiatives and always say yes to things in the beginning. Even if you don't really want to go to that one thing, that yes might lead to another thing you want to go to. But if you didn't go to the thing in the beginning, a lot of like relationships and connections are built. So if you're not there because you're too tired or something, I really would just recommend to push through, because that work like will really reward the rest of your stay. And that goes for like student life in general, not just on Erasmus, but like especially in the beginning. If you're a first year student too, just say yes and take initiative. If you want to do something, don't wait for someone to call you, just ask them. They would be just as happy as you were if someone asked you, so just be the one who asks. And another argument to always say yes is that, as I said, I had like a place to invite people. Also, I forgot to mention, I would really recommend to live with other Erasmus people. I lived with 4 and we did a lot of stuff together, and that definitely made my Erasmus like so much better, because at least you have those like safe connections already. And we used to have like parties where we each invited like a few people each, so everyone could like meet each other's friends, and yeah, just a lot of free connections, or like friends come with living with other Erasmus people. And on some of these websites and stuff, I know you can't choose. Where I rented, they only rent it out to Erasmus people, luckily, but some people end up sharing with like older people who work, which might not be the same experience. But if you're able to, I would really recommend to live with other Erasmus people. But yeah, back to the saying yes thing. So if I would invite someone and they said no, then they would miss out on that, so I would invite someone else, and then I would first of all probably get closer to that person because we spend time together. But also I had like, maybe that's like their own reasons, but like a few people said no multiple times. So when I knew, or like in my head, then I just like expect them to say no to everything. So then I just stop asking, without sounding too harsh, but like, you know what I mean. If you, yeah. And then kind of again back to the Erasmus mentality of that it's just temporarily, because my point here says don't stress too much about traveling, etc. Because on Erasmus a lot of people travel, like it's very depending on where you are. Again, traveling can be very accessible, and as I said, like you're only there temporarily, so you just go and do stuff without thinking and having the mentality of taking advantage of every second you can. And so a lot of people do that, and you get like affected. I was like, this is so great, I love traveling. So what I really didn't expect to happen was I got full of traveling at a point, so that just didn't work for me. But again, it's just so romanticized. You're just expecting to like have fun and adventure and travel all the time, but like I traveled almost non-stop for like a month, and I just couldn't enjoy it, because it was like you get behind on school and you have to like stress about your next the next place you're going while you're somewhere else. But like, again, this was just my experience. A lot of people travel all the time because they want to and are able to, but that is something I really didn't expect to happen to me. But I just came to a point where that's the best description I can get. Like, the same way you get full of food, I got full of traveling. And like, honestly, a lot of people don't travel too, but might feel guilty because they're not like taking full advantage of the Erasmus experience, again, because it is too romanticized. So my point is, don't stress too much about it if it doesn't work for you. But like, if you love travel, just do it, but don't just do it for the sake of it. I really realized that after some time, because it is okay to just enjoy your Erasmus city or country too. Your life is hopefully long and you have time to travel later. And then my last tip for this video is to just be grateful. And that goes for both if either you feel like your expectations aren't met and you're like sad about that, like Erasmus was supposed to be the best experience of your life and it isn't, and you're just like too caught up in feeling bad about that. Or if you're just having a blast and then taking your time for granted, just be like mindful and grateful and try to suck in the fact that you're here, you're living in another country, you're able to meet new people, experience a new culture, walk new places, eat new food, you have health to do this, you get money from the state. I honestly don't know where the Erasmus scholarship money comes from, but you are so lucky to be on Erasmus. Rather you like love it or you might not enjoy it as much as you would, you're lucky and you should be grateful for that. And being grateful about it will make it even more enjoyable for you, and it will be over soon, so just take it in while you can. That was all the key points that I had. I hope that with these videos there's always something I wish I said differently or that I didn't say or that I did say, but for now I think that's it. I remember for my high school exchange I did so much research beforehand, while for my Erasmus I don't think I watched one single YouTube video. But if you're watching this and you're going on Erasmus, I just want to say good luck. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I get a lot of messages on my Instagram, but it's so much easier for everyone if we can have like the comment section as like a Google Erasmus search bar. Maybe someone asked it here so you got the answer you were wondering, or if someone has the same as you and then they can see it down. If it's more personal, you're obviously welcome to contact me, but it's easier for everyone if we can just have like general questions in this comment section, so thank you. Other than that, as I said so many times already, I did a high school exchange and honestly it's very different. I wouldn't really compare the high school exchange with an Erasmus exchange, but I guess if you're interested, I have made a lot of videos about that if you want to check those out. I unfortunately didn't post a lot of Erasmus content. I tried to make some vlogs, but I'm not in the vlogging era anymore. I think I've gotten used to TikTok, so I don't like vlog a lot. But yeah, and I don't remember if I said in the intro if I'm thinking of making a Lisbon guide, but I might do that for Lisbon Erasmus students. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you want to, or subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!